Socrates' final speech. That I should not be grieved, O Athenians, at what has happened, namely that you have condemned me, as well as many other circumstances concur in bringing to pass, and, moreover, that what has happened has not happened contrary to my expectation, but I much rather wonder at the number of votes on either side, for I did not expect that I should be condemned by so small a number, but by a large majority. But now, as it seems, if only 3 more votes had changed sides, I should have been acquitted. For the sake of no long space of time, O Athenians, you will incur the character and reproach at the hands of those who wish to defame the city, of having to put that wise man Socrates to death. For those who wish to defame you will assert that I am wise, though I am not. If, then, you had waited for a short time, this would have happened of its own accord. For observe my age, that it is far advanced in life and near death. But I say this not to you all, but to those only who have condemned me to die. And I say this, too, to the same persons. Perhaps you think, O Athenians, that I have been convicted through the want of arguments by which I might have persuaded you, had I thought it right to do and say anything, so that I might escape punishment. Far otherwise. I have been convicted through want indeed, yet not of arguments, but of audacity and impudence, and of the inclination to say such things to you as would have been most agreeable for you to hear. Had I lamented and bewailed, and done and said many other things unworthy of me, as I affirm, but such as you are accustomed to hear from others. But neither did I then think that I ought, for the sake of avoiding danger, to do anything unworthy of a free man, nor do I now repent of having so defended myself. But I should much rather choose to die, having so defended myself, than to live in that way. For neither in a trial nor in battle is it right that I or anyone else should employ every possible means whereby he may avoid death. For in battle it is frequently evident that a man might escape death by laying down his arms and throwing himself at the mercy of his pursuers. And there are many other devices in every danger by which to avoid death, if a man dares to do and say everything. But this is not difficult, O Athenians, to escape death, but it is much more difficult to avoid depravity, for it runs swifter than death. And now I, being slow and aged, am overtaken by the slower of the two. But my accusers, being strong and active, have been overtaken by the swifter, wickedness. And now I depart, condemned by you to death, but they condemned by truth, as guilty of iniquity and injustice. And I abide my sentence, and so do they. These things, perhaps, ought so to be, and I think that they are for the best. I say then to you, O Athenians, who have condemned me to death, that immediately after my death a punishment will overtake you, far more severe, by Jupiter, than that which you have inflicted upon me. For you have done this, thinking you should be freed from the necessity of giving an account of your lives. The very contrary, however, as I affirm, will happen to you. Your accusers will be more numerous, whom I am now restrained, though you did not perceive it, and they will be more severe, inasmuch as they are younger, and you will be more indignant. For if you think that by putting men to death you will restrain anyone from upbraiding you, because you do not live well, you are much mistaken, for this method of escape is neither possible nor honorable, but that other is most honorable and most easy, not to put a check upon others, but for a man to take heed to himself how he may be most perfect. Having predicted thus to those of you who have condemned me, I take my leave of you. To die is of 2 things, for either the dead may be annihilated and have no sensation of anything whatsoever, or, as it is said, there are certain chance and passage of the soul from one place to another. And if it is a privation of all sensation, as it were a sleep in which the sleeper has no dream, death would be a wonderful gain. For I think that if anyone, having selected a night in which he slept so soundly as to never have had a dream, and having compared this night with all the other nights and days of his life, should be required, on consideration, to say how many days and nights he has passed better and more pleasantly than this night throughout his life, I think that not only a private person, but even the great king himself would find them easy to number, in comparison with other days and nights. If, therefore, death is a thing of this kind, I say it is a gain, for thus all futurity appears to be nothing more than one night. But if, on the other hand, death is a removal from hence to another place, and what is said be true, that all the dead are there, what greater blessing can there be than this, my judges? For if, on arriving at Hades, released from these who pretend to be judges, one shall find those who are true judges, and who are said to judge there, Minos and Rhadamanthus, Aeacus and Triptolemus, and such others of the demigods as were just during their own lives, would this be a sad removal? At what price would you not estimate a conference with Orpheus and Musaeus, Hesiod and Homer? I, indeed, should be willing to die often, if this be true. For to me the sojourn there would be admirable, when I should meet with Palamedes and Ajax, son of Telamon, and any other of the ancients who have died by an unjust sentence. The comparing my sufferings with theirs would, I think, be no unpleasing occupation. But the greatest pleasure would be to spend my time in questioning and examining the people there as I have done those here, and discovering who among them is wise, and who fancies himself to be so, but is not. At what price, my judges, would not anyone estimate the opportunity of questioning him who led that mighty army against Troy, or Ulysses, or Sisyphus, or 10,000 others whom one might mention, both men and women, with whom to converse and associate, and to question them would be an inconceivable happiness. Surely for that judges there do not condemn to death. For in other respects those who live there are more happy than those who are here, and are henceforth immortal, if at least what is said to be true. You therefore, O my judges, ought to entertain good hopes with respect to death, and to meditate on this one truth, that to a good man nothing is evil, nor are his concerns neglected by the gods. And what has befallen me is not the effect of chance, but this is clear to me, that now to die and be freed from my cares is better for me. On this account the warning in no way turned me aside, and I bear no resentment towards those who condemn me, or against my accusers, although they did not condemn and accuse me with this intention, but thinking to injure me, in this they deserve to be blamed. Thus much, however, I beg of them. Punish my sons when they grow up, O judges, painting them, as I have painted you, if they appear to you to care for riches or anything else before virtue. And if they think themselves to be something when they are nothing, reproach them as I have done you, for not attending to what they ought, and for conceiving themselves to be something when they are worth nothing. If you do this, both I and my sons shall have met with just treatment at your hands. But it is now time to depart, for me to die, for you to live. But which of us is going to a better state is unknown to everything but God.